guys, welcome to the martial arts of selling. This is part 5 of a part 6 series on how to become more than a real estate agent. I hope you guys have watched the first 4. I hope you've taken notes and you actually applying them, because if you start to apply them and they become habitual and part of your daily routine, do not be surprised if you wind up getting more sellers contracts. Just don't. Takes a lot of hard work, and it takes even harder work when you have to change the way you think because you're used to doing something a certain way. And the hardest thing for us to do as we get older is, one, admit when we're wrong. Number 2 is make the changes that we need to make to become better at what we do, because we're set in our ways. I don't get set in my ways. The only thing I'm set in my ways is my principles and my value and what I do in my life. But everything else, I'm always looking to get better in my profession. How do I get better and make improvements? As an entrepreneur, salesperson, and business owner, is I talk to more people or more of the right people, right? So buckle up, get ready for part 5. This is the one of the most exciting parts, because this is where you really solidify and actually increase your value. But before we get into that, if you're watching this on my channel, hit the subscription button below, smash the like button, and share your honest and sincere comments below, because it does help the algorithm. But one of the things that I've learned to become as good as I am in what I do, I'm very blessed, is I always focus on the fundamental. And the number one fundamental thing that I do is cold calling. It got me to the level I'm at right now. I could cold call anybody, anytime, for any product, any service, and I'll get results. I just do. But when you're dealing with for sale by owners and they're sophisticated investors, you as an agent cannot be perceived as an agent. They have to have a different perception of you, because they get every agent trying to list their properties. Right? So it's your job as a real estate agent to really earn that contract, because there's no money involved, right? But what you're going to learn today, in my experience training agents and dealing with investors myself, there's only 4, maybe 5 objections that will come up during the initial contact with the for sale by owner. So get ready, because when you learn the art of rebuttals, your value increases dramatically and exponentially, but your sales are off the charts. Okay? Now, this is no particular order, but this is just one of the rebuttals. So, objection number 1 is when they say they're busy, right? And let's say you call them, because the only way to get a hold of them is you got to call them, right? So when you call them for sale by owner and they say they're busy, here's the rebuttal that you must say, but more importantly, is not what you say, is how you say it. Hold on a second, guys. Changing the camera. Okay. All right. So now I've been using this rebuttal for over 31 years, since 1992. I'll never stop using it. It works. And it works because I know the mindset to it and I know how to say it. So if a for sale by owner says, Paul, I'm very busy, the minute they say that, do you get a lot of these calls? I understand and respect that. Now, you could wait for them to answer it or not. Why do you say, do you get a lot of these calls? I understand and respect that. Because you're letting them know that you respect and you understand that you don't like these phone calls, but you will like my phone call. Or you can say, you get a lot of these calls, right? That's a statement question. In other words, you let them know, you get a lot of these calls, right? Yes. I understand and respect that. Now, when you say I understand and respect that, 2 things happen. Number 1 is you're breaking down the defense mechanism, and you're also keeping yourself in control. Because what most people do is agents respond, what do you mean you're busy? When can I call you back? Right? That's what the for sale by owner or prospect wants you to say. You don't do that. So I'm very busy. Do you get a lot of these calls? I understand and respect that. Boom, and then you move on. Or you get a lot of these calls, right? I understand and respect that, Mr. John Doe. Again, it's not what you say, it's how you say the rebuttal. Now, what's the purpose of a rebuttal? It's a weapon. And what is that weapon supposed to do? Diffuse that objection. That objection, very busy, should never ever come up again in the conversation. Why? Because the end result is to get the seller to give you an agreement, right? So you got to earn that. But before you get to the agreement, there are certain questions as an agent you need to ask so that you can be a solution for them, right? So they could give you the contract. It starts with the objections and the rebuttals. Just does. So objection number one is very busy, right? And the rebuttal is, do you get a lot of these calls? I understand and respect that. Or you can say, you get a lot of these calls, right? I understand and respect that. I understand and respect that is very, very, very powerful. Don't you discredit it. Okay, objection number two. Well, let me go over here. I'm sure you guys hear this all the time. I don't need or want to work with an agent. Are you familiar with that objection? You know they're going to tell you that, right? You ever thought about why they really don't want to deal with agents? It's your job to know that. That's what I mean, how to become more than an agent. So here's a rebuttal number two to the objection number two. It's called the few fell found clause. I'm sure some of you have heard of it. If you haven't, then this is going to be a treat to you. But again, it's not what you say only, it's how you present it or how you say it. Because everything you say is either going to increase your value or decrease your value, period. End of story. So if I'm an agent and I get this objection, I don't need or want to work with an agent. Here's your response. Very powerful. I understand how you feel, and you emphasize feel. You understand how they feel. I felt the same way before I became an agent. Think about it. What I found out is that there are great agents, but it takes hard work to find the right agent. You just sold yourself to them. You're letting them know I'm that agent you've been looking for. And you did a lot of work to get to this point. And this is what I found out, that it takes hard work to become a good agent. And you have that agent right now. So again, objection number two, I don't need or want to talk with an agent. Your rebuttal, your response is, I understand how you feel. I felt the same way before I became an agent. And what I found out is that there are great agents, but it takes hard work to find the right agent. If you say it with the right tonality and with the right emphasis on feel, felt, found, you got them. They're putting in my hands. I know that for sure. As I told my client, who's a real estate agent out of Washington, D.C., the other day when I was training him, I said, and this is not to sound arrogant or egotistical or even degrading to anybody, but I eat for sale by owners for breakfast. I spit them out for lunch, and then I serve them again for dinner. What do I mean by that? Is that I understand every weapon they have, and I have the more powerful weapons than they have. And I know how to earn their business because I have a genuine interest in helping them get what they want. That's the truth. Does that make sense? Okay, so now Objection number 3, and do me a favor, share your comments below if you agree with any of this or you like any of this. That would be very helpful. Okay, number 3 is not interested in paying a commission. I'm sure most of you heard this, right? You got to think about what they're really saying, and you have to understand them and then how to respond to that. So one of the things that I do, I like to flip it on them. I flip it on everybody. And you also have to understand, are they really looking for solutions, or they're looking for a way out, or they're looking to be debatable or argumentative? I'm looking to have a conversation. So here's the rebuttal for that. Not interested in paying a commission. Let me ask you a question, Mr. For Sale by Owner. Do you believe you are valuable to people in your profession, or people you work for, or people you work with, or the people that work for you? Do you believe you're valuable? What are you going to say? No? They're going to say, yes, of course I am. Then you respond with this. You put their guards down by doing that rebuttal. They're bragging about themselves in a way. And now you go like this. Let me explain why people hire me. Let me explain why people hire me. That's a very powerful statement. You're getting a third party involved that's not there speaking for you. And when you do this, you're basically going to tell them why people hire you. Now is your opportunity to sell you to them and why they should give you the listing. And I tell people when I'm closing a deal, let me tell you why people hire me. I produce results. I solve sales problems. If there's a problem, after you hire me, I don't hide under my desk. I call you and I tell you how I'm going to solve that problem. The reason why people hire me is because I tell people what they need to hear, not what they want to hear. The reason why people hire Paul Cruz and my company, besides producing stuff, is because I understand how to build relationships. And they know that I have their back. And the reason why people hire me at the end of the day is because I have a solution to their problems. And I always give my value up front. I let people see what they have, what they're buying, what they're getting. I don't throw any surprises, any curveball. That's why people hire me. Because I'm good at what I do. I'm passionate about what I do. I go above and beyond what's expected of me. That's the mentality you have to have as an agent trying to get a for sale by owner to give you a contract. Don't just do what's expected of you. Forget about that. That's not valuable. You go above and beyond that. They have to feel like you're not an agent. They have to feel like there's no one else like you. And that all happens with the rebuttal. So objection number 3 is not interested in paying a commission. Your rebuttal is, let me ask you a question for sale by owner. Do you believe you're valuable to people in your profession? And when they give you the answer, you respond, let me explain why people hire me. And whatever experience you have, you want to let them know. But you want to be convincing. You got to have conviction. You got to have confidence. They have to feel that before they meet with you and give you a contract. Does that make sense? All right. Objection number 4, you probably heard this all the time. Bring me a buyer and I will pay you a commission, or they'll ask you, do you have a buyer? This rebuttal is going to blow your mind because it's not typical. And I'm not a typical guy. So if I'm an agent and I was asked that, do bring me a buyer and I'll pay you a commission, or do you have a buyer? Here's my response. I deal with many investors and buyers. But let me explain how it works on my end and how I am different from any other agent. Again, you're going back to selling you, why you're different. But here's what you have to do with a for sale by owner. You have to assume that they are investors and they know what they're doing. You got to always do that. But you got to educate them. You have to let them know the difference between an investor and a buyer. And there is a difference if you may not know that. An investor to me, in my eyes, Paul Cruz's eye, is an investor is looking for cash flow and is looking for equity and profits, right? A buyer is a home buyer. A buyer is someone that wants to live in it. So they have to go through financing. They have to get credit. An investor already has all that. They have liquidity and they have access to credit. And chances are they don't have to go through a FICO score or something like that, right? It depends on the type of investor you have. But if you tell a for sale by owner that, and they are actually one of those investors, they're going to respect what you're saying because they're going to say, this guy understands, or this girl understands what level I'm at. That's what I do. When I cold call for sale by owners and I have an investor that wants to buy it, I deal with many investors. I deal with many buyers. There's a reason why I put it separate. But let me explain how it works on my end and how I'm different than any other agent. And then you explain to them why you're different. Does that make sense? So objection number 4 is bring me a buyer and I will pay you commission, or do you have a buyer? And your rebuttal and response is, I deal with many investors and buyers, but let me explain how it works on my end and how I'm different than any other agent. And I'm going to add one more in there that just happened to me recently. I was getting to the close to get the order, and I threw everything at this prospect. And at the end, the prospect gave me an objection that I haven't heard in many, many, many years, so I never had to really have a rebuttal. But because I've listened to so many rebuttals and I've said so many rebuttals and I've been involved in so many situations, sometimes things just come up, right? That's when wisdom comes in. So the prospect said, his objection was, I need to think about it. After 25-minute conversation, he said he needed to think about it. I was like, I threw everything at this guy. What do? Let me give it one more shot. This is thinking quick. I said, it doesn't take time to make a decision. It takes information. And I'm the only one that has that information for you to make that decision. Where did that come from? I have no idea. But it worked. And I got the sale. Because I basically told him, you make these decisions all the time. You don't need time to think about it. You need to, all the information is fresh right now. And I'm the only one that gave you this information. So why you need to think about it? That's another added one. But wanted to share that with you guys. I hope this was helpful. This was part 5 of a 6-part series on how to become more than a real estate agent. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did like it, smash the like button. Do me a favor, share your comment, hit the subscription button below, and also share this video with others if you think it can help others. Till we speak again, I say goodbye. And now, look forward to part 6, because part 6 is actually the script that you need to use to get the for sale by owner to give you more listings. Talk to you later. Have a great day.